All right. Hey, everyone. I hope, oh no. Hold on, wait. What happened to my video feed? Is that my cable going bad, or is that my capture card going bad? Neither result's very good, but it's good to know which... Okay. Seems it's okay now. Anyways, as I was saying, hey, everyone. Hope you're having a good week so far. So we got a new content drop, as everyone expects. You know, I've been only doing this, what, 3 years? We're kinda used to this by now, I think. Hey, Daj, hey, Kyle. So, we're gonna take a look at the new content. We're gonna take a look at the Gacha stuff, take a look at the Twitter videos, and then wrap up with alterations, as we always do. So let's get that crack-a-lackin'. Now I'm doing that. Give me a second, gang. I gotta clean this up. Thankfully, it's just like carbonated water, but I still gotta clean it. Let's see, where's my camera? Yeah, that's not the right camera. There it is. A BRB, gang. Oh no, I got on my phone too. Shit. It's really weird seeing the liquid bubbling on my desk, but you know, that's what carbonation does. Okay. I should be like all of it, I think. Oh yeah, minus the little bit that got on my phone. Alright, cool. Okay. There we go. There's the camera. There, to make sure that doesn't happen again. Alright. It truly was like an oh no, it's everywhere moment. Thankfully, it's like... It's just like... I don't know if the light will actually... No, it's reflecting too much. Sam Pell. It's just carbonated water, effectively. It's got like almost no sugar content or any of the syrup in it. So it cleans up, thankfully, really well. Yeah, okay. Anyways, let's take a look at our new suit here. The Build Strike Gundam. Full package variant. Let's go from there. J.J. Abrams. Maybe. Just maybe. I started a new account for all my HCs and new FF. Not a full suit. Yeah, I still say they need to add some kind of like actual hard pity system where after you use enough Haro, you can pick one of the parts that are on right up. Because as it stands right now, don't get me wrong, recycle system's pretty cool. But when you're looking at a suit that has enough parts, it's completely worthless, frankly. Yeah, and I don't know any mobile game these days that lacks like a true pity system. Most of them have it in some form or another. Even Fate Grand Order, the one that everyone shits on for having one of the worst, most predatory gachas with its 1% fucking SSR rates. They're like, oh yeah, we'll add pity. Granted, very recently, but they're still ahead of the curve, considering. Alright, so anyways, let's take a look at our suit here. So the head-mounted Vulcan. No, those are garbage, bad, terrible, be gone. Wait, hold on. I opened the Twitter. Okay, there it is. Cool. Pro tag and 4 computers word tags. As I say every time, I'm not a big fan of the 4 line of tags. I think that they could be executed so much better than they currently are, and they just don't bring enough to the table, especially considering we're not able to pick the maps that we play on, which kind of removes a lot of the usefulness of being able to these kinds of tags. if we were able to pick our map types on more often, I should say, in more game modes, the 4-line of tags would be much more powerful. But as it is, not my thing. Also doesn't activate a lot of traits, but mileage may vary. Your build may work well with it. Power to you, champ. Pro tag, as we know, is the one of the 2 top melee tags in the game, giving a fat 10% boost to your primary offensive stat, the other for melee being mobile fighter, so it having one of them, excellent. A little confusing though when you look at the stats and you go, wow, it's really not, it definitely has a lot of that shot attack on there for a welfare. Granted, after carryover, it does have a healthy amount of melee attack as well, sitting at like 1300 or so. For a welfare, that does sit relatively high. Typically, we see anywhere from 1000 to 1200 in that spectrum. Going beyond that's really nice. For shot, we're looking at about, 3600, 37, kind of that range there. And that's really good for a welfare as well. Not the best we've seen for shot, but really nice. So, yeah, the tags make sense thematically for the suit. In terms of the stats are pretty nice. EX skills complete wash though. Alright, let's take a look at the torso. When operated on auto. So this means you have to be in control of the suit and your combat style set to auto. You can't have one of your other suits controlled by an AI. So you're on your suit on manual, and then you have another suit that's being controlled by an AI. That doesn't count as auto. That counts as like AI controlled. It has to be the suit you're currently in control of, and you have to be set to auto for this, which obviously hard limits a lot of the usefulness of it. The EX skill power boost at 30% though is really solid. That will give a lot of oomph, but early on, you probably don't want to be playing on auto because you probably won't have the stats or EX skills to instantly wipe everything super quick, where auto, may actually fail on runs. So I don't really see a lot of usefulness here. The mileage on this is kind of iffy. Pro tag for computers again for tag. Either someone is using really, really cheap weed outside, or there's a skunk dead somewhere. Honestly, could be either. Okay, that was just a whew. All right, statistically, what are we looking at here? We're looking at about 1550, 1600 melee attack or so for the torso, which is really solid. Typically, we'll see 1100 to 1350 or so, kind of, maybe even a little lower than that, 1000 to like 1200, kind of that range. So this is some solid offensive numbers going on for the melee attack, and for shot, same deal. We're pushing up to about 1400. Good numbers for a torso, especially on a welfare. So the trait is not really that useful, I don't think, at least not for the audience that would be really but playing the event to get this suit to use as like an actual primary driver. Because you're going to be playing manually, not auto when you're at low levels. So kind of, tags, useful. Don't like the 4 computers tag. It has some mileage, but on very select parts. Stats are good though. Put my money on the skunk. Honestly, I would too. We have a really nice park, just a few minutes walk up the road. So probably someone spooked a skunk there, dog saw it or something, or with all the roads, maybe someone got a high score, and now they have a very scented vehicle. All right, now let's look at the arms. Outfighter job, EX skill power boost by 25%. All right, this is awesome. It is super easy to get an Outfighter pilot. We have them by the dozens. Take your pick. There's something there that's going to work for you. The EX skill power boost at 25% is typically the highest that we ever see on a welfare part. So this aces. Really good. Again, with the Pro Tag 4 computers tag mix. Statistically, wow, there's no resistances at all. This is one of the double zeros. Interesting. Offensively statted, though, we're looking at about 3700 melee attack, which is solid. That is good numbers for a welfare, absolutely. And shot attack like 1500. Stats are pretty, like, for a non-integrated welfare pair of arms, that's some good stats. The trait, good. Tags, you got one heck of a solid tag in Pro Tag. For computers, though, I'm not the biggest fan of. Whatever floats your boat, though. Overall, probably the best part we've seen so far. Legs, double saber rush, B plus power, D pierce. Unless I'm mistaken, that's one of the ones that has a very terrible animation to it, so that's going to be a hard skip for me, dog. Pro Tag, there we go. We finally get rid of 4 computers and bring in high mobility. High mobility activates a multitude of traits across many parts, so that's a pretty solid one to get. On top of that, melee attack boost is really good, and it's at the 5% range, making it one of the, it's a tertiary tag, effectively. You'll have your 2 primary, this is for a normal build, you'll have the 2 primary offensive boosters, so let's say you're running a melee suit, you'd have Pro Tag, you'd have Mobile Fighter, and then you'd have that 3rd tag open, your tertiary tag, and that's where you'd put in something to activate traits. Or maybe you don't have any traits to activate, milk out a little extra stats or something. That might be one of the few times a 4 tag is useful. But if you have a bunch of traits that, while high mobility or while high firepower, right? That's kind of what your tertiary is for. High mobility, good tertiary, gives you the melee attack, activates a ton of traits, good stuff. Statistically, for legs, remember, legs and backpack, typically the lowest offensively statted parts of the entire frame. If we see over 1,000, that's good. If we see over 1,200, that's really good. If we see over 1,400, that is some really top-notch stats for a welfare piece. So let's take a look here for melee. We're looking at about 1,550 or so. Probably a little lower, more like, 1,500, maybe even slightly lower than that. But honestly, amazing melee stats for the legs. Shot attack is more kind of what we'd expect. It sits at about 1,100 or so. So definitely in the post-power creep average bracket, but nothing amazing. Simultaneously, that's for shot. This is a melee suit. For melee, this does really well. So good. EX skills a wash. Tags are nice. The stats are really nice as well. So good going, legs. I wish your EX skill was better, though. Backpack. The launch build booster, A pierce, B power, just short of a cutscene cooldown, and it's has a buff attached to it as well. Okay, so this is I guess reversal is the best way to put it. So you get hit with a bindable skill after activating this, and this will just deflect it. So that means any cutscene effectively with bindable. We've seen this kind of surging up. I think it's the second welfare that's had this kind of skill before, so that's interesting. So you recover 48% of your armor. That's a fat heal. Shot attack boost to 29%, which doesn't make any sense because this is a melee suit, but you do you. Your melee skill cooldowns instantly down 33%. And this is what I mean, right? So, like, they know this is for melee, but not only is it a beam shot EX skill on a part made for a melee suit, it boosts your shot attack, which makes sense because it's a shot skill, but melee skill cooldown reduction, which is antithetical to the rest of the entire part. So yeah, I see what you're saying when the backpack's really bad, or tragic as you put it. It definitely is. The melee skill cooldown thing's really neat, but the rest of it's just completely worthless, honestly, because it just plays 2 roles, right? If you're using this on your suit to reduce your melee skill cooldowns, it means you're primarily melee focused, meaning the shot attack boost and the beam shot category multiplier for the actual damage this is going to do are going to be a complete wash for you. At that point, you may as well look at another EX skill altogether. It's interesting decision. Probably should stop throwing darts at a board to determine what skills do. Going from arm trade seems more an outfighter than an infighter. Nah, so whenever you see like the beam saber rush or like those types of skills, that really feels to me anyways a lot like a filler EX skill where it's like we need to put something else on this, Not quite sure what. Let's just give it one of the beam skills, because, you know, we know how good they are. Tried and true kind of thing. And like, even the stats, like, if you look at all the parts, the only two, well, I guess even the arms, the head had a good amount of shot attack. The torso had an okay amount of shot attack for what it is. The arms were definitely in that post-power creep curve for shot attack. The legs, you know, they had shot attack as well. Not as much as melee, obviously. And then, again, we look at the backpack here, and it's, like... yeah, the melee attack does eclipse shot attack, not by much. So, I think... if I were to just napkin math the numbers in my head, if I remember them, it kind of works out to almost like a 65 to 35 split for offensive stats. 65 into shot, or 65 into melee, 35 into shot. So it still has a good amount of shot attack on it, but it's definitely melee centric. So you could make the argument it's kind of a hybrid build, but you're losing a lot of stats on that. So. Oh, that sucks, Ghost. Leaks suck. Anyways, the final numbers for stats here after carryover, doing my normal napkin math. We're looking at about 1,400 change melee attack or so, and about 1,500 shot. So, this is a really weird backpack. It doesn't seem to really know what it wants to do. You're only really going to get a lot of mileage from this on a suit that has equal melee and shot, because otherwise, you know, you're going to use this EX skill and do almost no damage, or you're going to use this EX skill, do a ton of damage, and then the melee cooldown is completely useless to you, which kind of defeats the purpose of it, you know? Kinda. So, interesting. Pro tag, high mobility tag still? Alright. Harder to achieve greatness. Yeah, that's a way to phrase it. Alright, let's take a look at the beam rifle. When in computer category, shooting crit rate boosted by 17%. So this adds, I think, this is probably the 4th trait now that's activated when you're in a computer stage. This is also the kind of scenario that would activate for computers as a word tag, giving you a 5% boost to all of your stats, right? Unfortunately, shooting crit rate doesn't matter because crit rate is bad. That's GBM in a nutshell for you. Crit, not worth. So this is just, it's a wash. It's really not worth going for the trait. Statistically, almost 3,800 shot attack. That definitely puts this in that like top 1% of ranged weapons for welfare weapons, ranged weapons. So, cool beans. And it does have a good amount of melee defense, and by nature, carryover, about 300 melee defense. Or melee attack, I should say. So you get a little bit of attack, you get a hefty amount of shot, and a good amount of melee defense on a beam rifle. Pro tag and 4 computer word tag combo, neat. If you're somehow missing pro tag on all your other parts and you need another one, this will fit the bill. I'm gonna start taking shots for bad parts that come out. If I survive, it's been a good run. You'll be dead within the week. Alright, let's take a look at the enhanced beam rifle. Ooh, that's a neat little color it's got going. Although I would save your drinking until after the end of the anniversary at least. Alright. So, enhanced beam rifle. Back parts EX skill power boosted by 30%. It feels like a slap in the face for this suit's backpack, but overall that could be a pretty useful trait thing to have if you have a good back EX skill. Oh, excuse me. Things to keep in mind though. Back part. So it's only restricted to that single part. If your back does not have an EX skill on it, this is completely worthless. It may also be better to look for a part that gives a general EX skill power boost of whatever percent, as that typically gives a lot more flexibility, as that's for any part on your machine. However, as a stopgap, I don't have anything better. Honestly, not bad. We have a lot of really good backpack EX skills, so pro tag, high mobility tags, and statistically... Oh, we actually break... Oh, no, just shy. Ooh, we're at like 3,900 change shot attack or so. So again, top 1% of offensive stats for welfare ranged weapons. Nice. The traits, limiting but powerful. And the tags are definitely nice. And our Chobum Shield. D Pierce, B Power, 11 Magazine, Pro Tag for Computers Tag, and statistically we're looking at about 1,000 melee attack and about 1,300 or so shot. If you guys remember the original Build Strike Chobum Shield, it's a nice magazine EX skill to slap into your shield slot, especially if you lack anything good or you need a magazine EX skill. It being a welfare part, meaning you can easily cap this out. Honestly, this should be your number one focus. This magazine is going to do work. So the full strike, or the build strike full package welfare variant, the pros, a lot of melee attack. Pro welfare, like it's nice. It's got the pro tag, it's got high mobility, the numbers look good on it. The traits and the EX skills leave a lot to be desired, honestly, overall. Effectively, this entire welfare is salvaged purely due to the fact it has the Chobum Shield. If you need it, there it is, on display. Just take it. It's a great free magazine EX skill. That's really all there is to it. Yeah, it's not a B+ power post-alteration magazine, but for something you can just max out, hell man, it's worth. Especially when it inevitably gets its alteration, 6-7 months from now, right? Alright, so let's go take a look at our stuff in the gacha, then we'll take a look at the Twitter videos, and then we'll go into my favorite part, alterations. Ha ha ha. Okay. So we have the Fenice Liberta, which we're going to skip because it's 7-star. I've talked about this before, but I will only do 7 stars in alterations. And same with the alternate Penelope. Cool. Well, let's take a look at our 2 pilots for today and then roll on over. We'll start with Anna Marie. Huh. All right. Resident 3-star in a tin can. Let's take a look. So we have a mid-shooter trait. When armor is 70% or more, enemy all power reduced by 25%. That's a nasty multiplier and very easy to get a hold of. Just don't get hit. Cool beans. Okay. Not something I would run on a primary suit unless I was going specifically for an enemy all power reduction strat, so they would do 0 damage to me. But could be very useful on a suit that lacks a good pilot trait that you don't want to die, because 25% down on everything, useful. Do keep in mind this works a lot like other reduction type skills. It only affects the suit this part is equipped on. So if you have your support suit and you have this part on there, it doesn't affect the primary suit you're piloting. It'll only affect the suit that this part is on. All right, commander and support type tags. Very, very interesting thematically. Okay, makes sense. Gameplay terms, I'm confused as heck, but all right, sure, this is what we live for. Interesting combinations, am I right? Commander being one of the 2 best shot tags that you could ask for, the other being ace exclusive. Works well with the job license. Support type, really, it does not. It doesn't bring a lot to the table, because when you're running a support type tag, as you can see on there, you get your physical resistance boost, which really it's not that necessary. You get a little bit of shot attack boost, which is interesting, but support type doesn't activate very many, if any, traits. I think there's like less than 10 in the game it activates, and none of them are very powerful. So with that in mind, support type's kind of a wash of a tag. At least it gives a little bit of shot attack, but Statistically, we're looking at about 1900 or so shot attack and about 450 melee, kind of around there. Not bad. You know, statistically nothing amazing, but is a 3-star. The trait, very interesting, could be used in an all-power reduction build. And the tags, Commander is definitely workable if you're lacking that tag for a pilot. Backslot this one, make use of it. Support type though, Alright. And lastly, our other new pilot, Master Asia. Nice. Super Master Asia. Gold locks and everything. While mobile fighter, buff EX skill effect up 30%. Keep in mind the way that GBM does buff calculations, this is going to be a flat addition. So if you have a, increases shot attack by 29%, just add 30% onto that. It's now 59%. Have fun. So this could be very powerful, especially considering his job license is going to be Outfighter. And mobile fighter, something you are 9 times out of 10, if not more than that, going to run on a melee suit. So it's all very nice, very symbiotic, this whole setup he's got. Mobile fighter word tag, high firepower. Mobile fighter is one of the more difficult tags to get our hands on, as it's really only easily available on the G Gundam content. And those can be very difficult to actually find, get your hands on, build a suit for, get those tags. So, getting another slot you can get mobile fighter in, nice. High firepower, very nice tertiary tag, works for melee, works for shot, activates a ton of traits, no complaints there. Statistically, ooh, this man's beefy. We're looking at about 3,300 or so melee attack, which for a Gacha 4-star is bonkers good, so that's really nice. I think really... It's weird when you think about it, because like the highest Gacha 4-star pilots we've seen statistically were the swimsuit characters we got last year. Those ones just blew everything else out of the water we got up to until that point for like, non-build project stuff. So yeah, but this definitely in like top 10 for Gacha melee, statistically anyways. That's nice. And shots token, it's like 800 or something, so... The boy's gonna slap, which makes sense because he's Master Asia. What's he look like with marks? The boy packs a mighty punch. Yeah, no, he's definitely one of those pilots where if I needed a pinch melee pilot, he's definitely one I would put in there. That's nice. Yeah, I know, man. Master Asia's a beast. I can't wait to see his build project form where he rocks up with 10k melee attack out of the box like, hey, I'm gonna slap your shit in. Alrighty. So, Alterations. Let's take a look at those Twitter videos first and see what suffering hell we're getting into, eh, gang? Properties. Point to my browser. Yeah. Alright, what do we got? Aha! The big Penelope! Let's see what we have. Whoa, this is trippy. Oh, that's why. Oh, that's some trippy shit. Okay, I was wondering why there was like a glass effect on my stream. Turns out I had accidentally duped the view. All right, so let's try this again where I'm actually focusing on it. So, a funnel. How many funnels was that? That's like 12? Torso, strafing. What? Okay, so I understand that this is an EX skill. You know, you press the button and it did it. 6 to 8? Okay. That seemed a lot more than that, but I'll take your word for it. I'll put it on the higher end of 8, but it doesn't really matter. So to me, this looks like someone is just strafing to the side and doing the ranged auto. That's what this looks like to me. This doesn't look like an EX skill at all. I'm so underwhelmed by that, it's not even funny. Alright, our other shot EX skill. Dash. Pick him up, smash him down, do a whole bunch of laser beam stuff. Honestly, that really... I think it's partially the bulk of the Penelope. It just didn't really feel that impactful, you know? Whenever I see a humongous mobile suit doing stuff, like, I'm always expecting there to be, like, way more Gacha involved than this. Not just like, you know, oh yeah, here's some funnels and a couple of beam guns on my arms, right? Like, don't get me wrong. That's some nice laser beams right there. But honestly, using those should have been the other EX skill, not the strafing shot. And then that EX skill should have been either a true Gacha or some kind of, like... Yeah, I don't know. It just felt underwhelming to me. Overall, honestly, we all know what's wrong with funnels. The one EX skill just looked like a strafing shot, didn't even look like a skill. And cutscene's not my cup of tea, but maybe it's someone else's. I'm not gonna judge. All right, let's take a look at the whatever, Fenice. He's got butt wings. All right, he's got a Vulcan. Good to know that there's already a garbage skill on there. Oh no, that is not a good EX skill. Ah! We're Yu-Gi-Oh bikes now. Interesting. I'm going to assume that's very similar to the other EX skill from the other Fenice version. It looked neat. Motorcycles aren't really my jam, but yeah, I've seen worse. Okay. Yeah. The morph is going to be interesting because, like, it's clearly meant for the Fenice, like, the entire suit. It's going to look atrocious when you use other parts. And I can already see people posting videos of it, making fun of it. Why do we not have this for Proto Wing Zero? Budgeting stuff, man. Come on. You think they're going to spend all their money on just a Proto Wing? No, man. That budget went into the colony shot. Just the suit riding the bike. Okay, so this is a whole new one then. Cool. All right, so we have... You guys are saying 3 alter... Oh, hey! Wait, Orga's suit got an alteration? Damn! All right, well, I'll start with this, and then we'll move on to the new Gacha suits. So for anyone that somehow hasn't stopped around when I've talked about alterations before, I purely just look at the EX skill and or trait of the part, because those are the only things that are 100% sure to have changed. I guess the stats as well, but the stats are like guaranteed to go up no matter what. The EX skill can be interestingly changed. The traits get a whole second slot, so that's cool to look at. Anyways, that's all I'm going to look at here. I'll also take a look at word tags, at least on the newer suits, and I guess these ones, but those don't change when you alternate. Just good to keep perspective. But I don't look at the numbers for 7-star suits. There's no point. They're manually changed. Just assume everything's power crept. So far, we've had less than like 5 examples on record in this game where when you alter a part, the stats are drastically different. But because of that, I always say, make sure you do the research beforehand. Make sure the new stats are what you actually want before investing into an alteration, because you can't undo it. So, anyways, let's get taking a look at the Orga suit. All right. God, this suit looks just so dorky. I love it. All right. Now, part traits, because that's really all we care about here, as it's going to get a second trait. While mid-range, squad shooting power plus 25%. Okay, so this is really cool. So, squad boosts mean that you can put this onto any of your suits, and all of them are going to get the boost, hence the squad boost. So if you're running a 3-suit piece of content like 3v3 Arena, and you have one of your suits decked head to toe with squad shooting power boosts of 25%, 8 parts, that's a fat boost you got right there, buckaroo. That's, yeah. 2 suits with all that, even better. As this is a arena part, very easy to max out, get tons of extra dupes for, although I don't think it's in the arena shop anymore, but it'll eventually cycle back in, if I remember correctly, or become available through another exchange. So, honestly, I think that's a really powerful second trait to get. The 25% squad shooting power boost is colossal, it's really nice, and it gives you a way to boost your main suit strength without having to swap out more parts on it and compromise. You just add it to your other suits, and your main suit gets the buff. It's pretty good. Okay. Torso. When armor is 30% or less, revive with 60% armor one time. So that's guts. I don't like guts. Honestly, if you're taking enough damage for this kind of thing to trigger, I'm going to say take a step back, practice a little more, because it's not going to help you at all when you get to higher end content. It's just going to, you're just going to die faster. It is guts with an extra step effectively. Supporter job, shooting power boost by 25%. I've talked about the supporter job before. With Lance category equipped, we do have a good handful of good lances. Initial EX skill charge boosted by 20%. That's, that is the highest modifier that we have available for initial, if I believe, or is it 30%? Or is it 25? Anyways, this is a very high multiplier for the initial EX skill charge boost, so that's good stuff. Really easy to get your hands on a lance as well. However, the first trait requiring a support job to get your shooting power boost is a colossal demerit of untold proportions, as supporter jobs don't benefit really from job license boosts, at least not in the offensive categories, and a lot of traits are typically dependent on having a specific job license, like at least offensively. So you'd want mid fighter, you'd want in fighter, or mid shooter, in fighter, long shooter, whatever, right? Supporter doesn't really get those benefits. So highest is 25%. Yeah, 20%'s amazing, honestly, because you have to remember initial skill cooldowns are typically sub 10 seconds. Very few of them are higher than that. So 20% is significant, especially when you remember that most content that has like the big warning flares before a boss spawns or something, the entire time you spend in that cutscene counts towards your cooldowns. So in an arena scenario, as soon as you spawn and it starts going, oh, warning, warning, you know, the enemy spawns in and you get the pose and all that stuff, your timers are ticking. Take 20% off those timers, that does add up at the end of the day, man. Good stuff. I just don't like that first trait. All right, legs. Partisan, B plus power, D pierce. Unless I'm mistaken, this is one of those skills that had a very poor animation to it. So, sorry, man. Not about that life. All right, backpack. When attacking with physical, yeah, okay, whatever. Close shot attacker, isn't it? Supporter job, enemy all power reduced by 30%. So, if you're running one of your backup suits, so you have your primary suit that you're going to use, the one that's kitted out with all your offensive toys, then you'll have your 2 backup suits. One of them you could probably play as a support, because as a support, healing cooldowns are much quicker. You could do that and slap this on it, although it wouldn't help your main suit, but it would make that suit 30% tankier. Although I guess that may only be so useful when you consider that 9 times out of 10, if they want that suit dead, they're just going to point at it and shoot it with like a magazine or something and do like 2 million damage, so yeah. Interesting. Alright, the lance. The lance. Enemy melee power reduced by 25%. Enemy melee power reduced by a further 30%. So if you are technique, and have a lance weapon equipped, you have a, 55% melee power reduction applied to the enemy. That is really good if you know you're going to be playing against a melee opponent, as that is over half of their primary stat just out the window. Honestly, to put that on a suit that you don't want to die to melee attacks, pretty solid. Especially, it's all just one part. I wouldn't use it on my primary suit, and as it only applies to the suit that the part is on, obviously, usage is only so much, but okay. Alright, let's take a look at our Tommy gun. No, SMG. Alright. While Commander, Squad EX skill power plus 20%. So, this again feeds into what I said earlier, where it had the squad shooting power boost. Another one of those really nice parts to get multiples of and just slap onto your supporting suits. It just buffs your main suit for free. And lastly, our shield, the Riot Shield. When attacking with physical, shooting power boosted by 30%, and physical ranged weapon magazine boosted. So, the second trait has a lot of use to it, as we have a myriad amount of physical shot EX skills in the game. However, the first trait, not that useful. Your ranged weapon has to be physical. That does limit it heavily, as that's, I think, IBO and a handful of other weapons that are physical, but most of them are beam. And it's just boosting the weapon magazine. So normally, right, you'd get 6-7 shots with a beam rifle before you have to reload, maybe 8. This would add like 1 bullet, maybe 2 if you're lucky. Honestly, once you get to the later phases of the game, you're barely autoing, if at all. You're just like, walk up, magazine, AoE, you're done, right? Who cares? But early on, that could be a useful trait, paired with the shooting power boost as well if you're using physical. Early on, great wombo combo. Later on, the first trait kind of falls off. Second trait still stays strong, though. Not as high a multiplier as we would see on a limited or Sokai part. Those go up to like 40-45%. But for a 3-star arena, effectively a glorified welfare, that's some solid stuff. Cool beans. It was an interesting upgrade. A couple of the parts saw some really nice viability increases with the squad boosts. Yeah, cool stuff. All right, let's take a look at our big Penelope. We already saw the EX skills. None of them were terribly amazing, but let's take a look at our big boy. As I said, I'm not going to be looking at the stats. Safe to assume power crept. No need to worry about that. I will look at the tags and the traits, though, as I didn't look at it in the gacha. Ace exclusive high firepower tags, very good for shot. Obviously, Ace exclusive being one of the 2 primary tags for it, and high firepower being a good tertiary. Hey man, what's up?
Hi, here to get a drink.
Yo, pass me.
We already had 2. You want a third?
I was gonna say pass me a lime or lemon. Yeah, you did, and they're good. So sue me.
God, these better not be all gone by tomorrow.
They'll be gone by tomorrow morning. Don't worry.
No! I hate this.
They're being robbed right out of the cradle, and there's nothing you can do. All right. Anyways, so as I was saying with the tags, very nice, very what you would expect to see on a shot machine these days. Good combination. As for traits, we have our while ace exclusive initial squad charge plus 18%. As I said before, the squad boost, really nice, gives the part a lot of viability to put on your primary suit or any of your backup suits, supports, whatever, as it doesn't affect your main suit, it just gives your main suit more buff. And while high firepower, enemy shooting damage plus 40%, just read that as shooting power boost plus 40%. I still don't know why they had this name thing. It's so weird. But The high firepower feeds into what's already there. Ace exclusive feeds into its own tags. And you can also use this obviously on other suits as well. So that's good stuff. What you drinking? Another Sam Pell. J.J. Abrams, nothing but lens flare. Damage plus is supposed to be multiplicative with power boost. Cool. So it's just more damage formula manipulation stuff. Cool. Torso for the Penelope. While Ace exclusive, EX skill cooldown reduced by 23%. Okay. That is, I think, the highest multiplier we have available for skill cooldown reduction, so that's nice. Ace exclusive, you're going to be running that with Penelope, so cool. Melee attack down 20%, so you're doing 20% less melee damage. In return, you're getting a 50% shooting power boost. I see nothing but positives here. You're going to be running Ace exclusive, and you shouldn't care about melee attack on a shot machine. Good stuff. Ace exclusive high firepower tags again. Cool. Are you here for snack?
My jerky? I thought I left on
Well,
the counter.
this is my jerky.
I
Not
know that
yours.
one's yours, that's why I'm not taking it. Mine's somewhere, though. It's got to be.
Did you put it in the fridge?
I fucking better.
Did you put it on the shelf?
I thought I did, but it's not
Did you
there.
leave it in the bathroom?
What? Oh boy, you know me, I sure do like taking cookies.
No. Shower beer, toilet jerky, what's the difference?
You know what? You raised good points.
What can I say? Scholar of our time. Someone recommended to check under your mattress.
I can't, because I sleep on the floor. I have no mattress.
Time to check under the floorboards. We have a hammer, use the other side. Alright, arms. Flight unit combo. Okay, so this is that larger cutscene that we saw, where it like grabs them, lifts them up, throws it, and then blasts everything down at them at once. So you're getting a 48% heal and a 49% shot attack boost, double S minus power, and cutscene cooldown. Pretty bog standard in terms of numbers, what we see to expect. The 49% shot attack boost for the squad is nice. You know, I'm surprised it's not 39% or, you know, a 50% boost to self, but nice. Good stuff. Yeah, I just didn't like the animation, frankly. All right, Ace exclusive and Federation. All right, no, changing things up. Interesting. All right, let's check out those legs. Funnel missiles. All right, so I really don't want to have the funnel talk, but I have to have the funnel talk. Okay, so in GBM, funnels are beam funnels, shot funnels are fundamentally broken. They don't do enough damage, and so the way that the damage scales for shot funnels is effectively every X amount of seconds, so every interval, all the funnels do their best to line up with the enemy, shoot their shot, and then go back to navigating around, and then next interval they do it again, and so on. The problem with this is the more funnels you have, the more damage your skill does. It makes sense, don't you think? The problem is, for the suits that only have like 4 to 6 funnels, they're getting completely screwed by things like the Kshatriya, which have like, what, 14, 16 funnels or whatever? And they just shred through things, right? Melee funnels don't have this problem because they're melee and their multiplier is melee. They just hit like fucking trucks. But shot funnels very uniquely suffer from this issue, and it hasn't been addressed. So if you're running, for example, the launch version of the new Ka, or the Verka, the new Verka, there we go, launch version of the new Verka, you'll notice that its funnels, although they're neat, they phase through walls and buildings and stuff, the damage output is much lower on its funnels than the Kshatriya, or even this suit that launches anywhere from 6 to 8. So it's really just kind of a game of, you got to know how many funnels you're shooting out to know whether or not it's worth it. I really hope they address it at some point, because they should just scale it so the less funnels you have, the shorter the interval is to make everything work out. These are one-use funnel, basically suicide units. Are they? Let me see here. Penelope. That's not the right skill. See, they don't really show that very well here. They launch the funnels, and we see one explosion, but we don't know if it's because something flew into it or not. I'll take your word for it. You guys probably know more than me about the actual animations altogether on this. Suicide funnels? Meh, okay. I don't know if their multiplier is the same or not, though. Probably because they're kamikaze units, the numbers are better. But what I said still stands about the fire and forget funnels. I drink this and I just want, like, actual lemonade. Okay. Ace exclusive Gundam type word tags. Okay. Ace exclusive good Gundam type, 100% workable. Tons of things activated by that. Okay. Take a look at our backpack. Turn flight maneuver. That's... On paper, this sounds like a very interesting EX skill. In practice, you just kind of strafe around. As far as EX skills go, visually, very lackluster. Numbers-wise, it's passable. D Pierce, A- power, so it will hit relatively hard. Short cooldown. However, it does seem to be one of those EX skills that's relatively easy to be knocked out of due to the fact that you move in a very predictable pattern. Seems to be something that, unless there's iframes, honestly, not worth it. And even if it has iframes, I don't know if the animation is worth it. We have so many better pocket rocket shot EX skills that take a fraction of the animation time that this skill does to do as much, if not more damage. So... Ace exclusive Gundam type tags, okay. And lastly, our beam rifle. With power attribute, EX skill cooldown reduced by 23%, and when you have more than 90% armor, 35% plus squad EX skill power. Both of those are very nice traits, very powerful to both of them. Power attribute, easy, just 5 parts or more that are of power attribute to your suit, bada boom, you're set. The EX skill cooldown reduction, as I've said before, that is the highest multiplier available in the game, the 23%, so that is solid stuff. As for the squad EX skill power plus 35%, like I said, that is very nice to have, if not on your primary suit, on any other backup suits you may have, as the only activation requirement is 90% or more armor. That means right off the rip, you're getting that boost. That is some good stuff, especially if you have a really good map clear AoE that just needs to do more damage. There's your ticket. Overall, the Penelope, it's trait and EX, trait-wise, as good as predecessors. You know, the post-power creep kind of stuff, where it packs a good amount of utility, team utility, self-utility, all sorts of cool little nuggets in there. The EX skills, they do damage. I don't like the aesthetics for them, but that is a taste thing. So, you know, you do you. If you like them, you like them. Don't let me judge you for that. Honestly, besides the fact that if you do get this full suit and bigify it, it's going to be ridiculously huge and comedic. It's more or less just like any other suit, frankly, that we've seen post Super Sokai. Not really like jaw-droppingly amazing or anything. All right. Oh no, there's so many parts on the Fenice. Oh god. All right, let's start from the top. All right, Liberta, let's go. While high firepower, enemy EX skill power reduced by 35%. Okay. Not something I would put on my primary suit, maybe on a support suit for it to live longer. While Ace exclusive, enemy all power reduced by 45%. Ace exclusive is a very common tag, easy to get. 45% all power reduction. You've effectively halved everything the opponent can do. EX skills, neutrals, the whole 9 yards. That is crazy good. High firepower ace exclusive tags, honestly not surprised. Works very well with those batch of traits. Alright. Torso. Machine cannon, D pierce, B plus power, 11 magazine. Fire the cannon in your chest at foes straight ahead. We saw that EX skill. I thought it was a Vulcan. Frankly, it looks to have about the same range. Just so we can have another gander at it, let's bring it up here real quick, because it's the first EX skill if I remember correctly. So I wonder, did that first shot whiff? No. So the two issues that I have with this EX skill, first one is, well, it's very small. It is easy enough to dodge as it is because these projectiles are the same as the Vulcan headshot ones effectively, and those are very easy to whiff. And the way that they've captured the demonstration for this EX skill, I have no way to tell the distance of this. If the distance is pretty much the same as Vulcan range, which is effectively the distance between the Fenice and that target suit there, that heavily restricts exactly how useful this magazine skill is actually going to be. One of the big benefits to a magazine EX skill is you can just aim and fire it down the line at somebody across the map and just watch it sail towards them and just ding them in the head and they're dead. With something that has extremely short range like this and fires in a burst, your damage is split among all of those pellets, so if any of them are dodged, blocked, or whatever, a lot of the damage that you were expecting to do is just swept under the rug. And distance as well, right? If they just backdash when you activate it, how high, like, what's the distance? Are you just going to whiff your entire magazine? As far as stopgap magazine goes, I can't really complain too much. It fires off very quickly. It doesn't have a lot of spread to it. It is very much a fire and forget kind of thing when you're close enough based on assumptions made, because they're only so good at giving us all the information we actually need for an EX skill. The numbers look good though. B plus power, 11 magazine, what we'd expect from a pretty good magazine skill. So, okay. Not terribly amazing as far as magazine EX skills go, but workable. Workable. Alright, arms. Shot damage raised 15%, so you're taking 15% more shot damage. EX skill power boosted by 50%. Honestly, awesome. Don't get hit. There's no demerit. Melee damage raised 15%, EX skill power boosted by a further 40. Alright, so if you're willing to take 15% more damage, you do 90% more damage. I'm not sufficiently drunk for this. Very interesting. Very, very nice as well. This is a very build agnostic part. It doesn't care if you're shot. It doesn't care if you're melee. It doesn't care about your attribute. Nothing. It's just, are you okay with if you get hit, you take more damage? All right. Here is almost double your damage. Something tells me this is probably going to be the best part of the suit. High firepower Gundam type. Cool. All right, legs. Legendary meteor hopper. So you shift into motorcycle form. 20% speed boost, 49% shot attack boost, 50% vernier capacity boost. This is interesting. They finally spaced this out to be human legible instead of that crushed together text they always have. However, I am confused. It almost seems like they meant to have the raised vernier capacity and paste it into that blank spot, that nice gap that's there, because then it would be a normal descriptor. Your vernier capacity, speed boost, and then your offensive boost. Overall though, A plus pierce, A power, it's a bindable cutscene. You get a very healthy shot attack boost for your entire squad. You get your token speed boost. The vernier capacity I think can go out the window, who cares about that? Honestly, though, on paper, looks good. It's not your triple S power skill. It's not your double S minus power skill, whatever. But because of its high pierce paired with its power, it's going to hit pretty damn well. And I can't wait to see what kind of monstrosities people cook up with this thing. Okay. High firepower, ace exclusive tags. Nice. Alright, backpack. When beam resistance is over 10,000, buff EX skill effect up 40%. So beam resist going past 10k is going to be just kind of a, you'll get there at one point, kind of like mid-game kind of phase. The buff EX skill effect up 40%, that's again, flat addition, good numbers. While Transformer, that is not the most common tag, but it is still something you can get relatively easy access to. However, it only activates so many traits, this being one of them, so mileage may vary on how much you're going to get out of it. All enemies, all damage does get increased by 40% though, so that's literally just a all power plus 40%. That's really, really powerful. So you get a fat buff EX skill effect boost and a fat damage boost. Honestly, almost enough to make me want to roll Transformer on my main suit. Interesting. Alright. That's a cute little backpack. Beam Saber. Leg parts EX skill power boost by 50%. So this is kind of what I talked about earlier, where the big demerit for this is that it only boosts a single part and not all of your EX skills. So again, mileage may vary. Maybe you have a head awakening and I don't know, some like arm gamma buff or something to give yourself just numbers, and then your EX skills just in your legs. Cool beans. I don't know. You do you, man. Whatever floats your boat. So yeah, interesting. And middle shooter job, very easy to get. We have so many middle shooters. All enemies EX skill damage, another all power plus 40%. Not bad. Not great, but not bad. High firepower, ace exclusive. Okay. All right, into the gun line. While ace exclusive, enemy shooting damage plus 40%. Okay. And when shot attack is over 20k, squad shooting power plus. Nice. So if you're ace exclusive and you have over 20k shot attack, which those are both very, very easy to accomplish, you get an 80% shooting. Well, okay. Pure numbers, you get 40% shooting power boost and then a 40% enemy shooting damage boost. Because, as Mana stated, they're technically separate in the damage formula. It totals to a much better number than shooting power boost, shooting power boost. Good stuff nonetheless. All right. All right. Our second beam rifle. While high firepower, initial squad charge plus 18%. Okay, nice squad booster. With saber category equipped, initial squad charge boosted by a further 18%. So, if you have a subsuit that has a saber, which that's very easy to do, and high firepower, which is also very easy to do because of the sheer amount of parts that have high firepower, you get a 36% initial boost to all your EX skills for your entire squad. That is crazy on a single part. That is... whew. Over a third of that initial cooldown just gone. Bonkers. And lastly, our Buster Rifle Custom. Oh, that's where they packed the Beam Saber combo. As I said, that Beam Saber combo is weak. It is very, very just not good. Leaves you open, takes too long to finish, very short range, slew of issues. But, whatever floats your boat, dude. High firepower transformer word tags, both of those very nice tertiary selections, so whichever you need to kind of top your stuff off. Not many need over 20%, even 25 is more than enough. That part's good for saving upgrade time. Yeah, because if I remember, I think it's like you only need probably level 3 or 4. Yeah, so if 8 so if you get like 1% effectively per level, then you only need to get this to like EX skill 3 or trait level 3, and there you go. You have your 20% right there. That's pretty good. And lastly, our shield. While Transformer, enemy all damage plus 50%, and when buffed, the buff EX skill effect goes up 40%. So Transformer is definitely one of those, if your build is kind of working around it, this will be really, really good for you. Lots of damage steroids in here for Transformer. When buffed, the buff EX skill effect goes up 40%. We have so many buffs in this game tied to all sorts of things, from EX skills to Awakening, you name it, just so many buffs. This is really easy to activate as well. Nice shield for that. Overall, like, it's a very interesting suit. I still think I like the arms the most just because of how agnostic they are, but it had some interesting stuff in there, from the beam saber, the arms, yeah. Or not the beam saber, the beam rifle. And the arms. Cool stuff. Between the two, I think I would rather roll on the Penelope. And I think it's just because it's much more of a... What's the word? Not a chonky boy. I think it's just more useful between the two of them. The Fenice is really cool in that it does give us our first transformable EX skill. But I don't know, it's a cool gimmick. I expect we're going to see more of it in the future. And I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of the suit's aesthetics, you know? Even the Penelope I'm not a huge fan of. But it has a certain charm with all the bulk, you know? It's the second one? Okay. Very rare, though. Only 2 in the 3 years that we've had this game out. Anyways, with that, gang, I believe I have covered all of the new content that was added to GBM. So I'm going to wrap up and crawl into bed, because in 7 hours I have to wait for the Fate Grand Order stream. Yippee! Anyways, as always, gang, thanks for tuning in and hanging out. If you feel like kind of chilling in here for a few minutes after the stream, I'm going to talk about some other stuff, like the Full Metal Alchemist mobile game that came out, a couple of other things as well. So if you were here just for the Gundam content, I'll be here again in a couple of weeks for more stuff, or maybe sooner, depending on what happens. Maybe an emergency stream, who knows? And yeah, see y'all GBM people in the next stream. For anyone who wants to stick around, let's talk shop. So, yeah, I had stumbled on the Full Metal Alchemist mobile game, actually the day it released. It was before you actually pinged to be mana, and I was really interested in trying it out, because I had been waiting for that game for a long time. But did you cover Astray Blue Frame D? I may have, I may not have. I don't know, did I? I don't know if I want to. I'm exhausted today. And it didn't get an alteration either, eh? You know what? I don't know. Is it really worth talking about the Blue Frame D? Because, like, it's a standard suit, 7-star tune-up. I'm assuming it's more or less going to be not as good as the Battle Festival suits. Tell me if I'm wrong. Okay. I'll take a look at the animations at least. I don't know, I don't see much of a point really in covering standard suits anymore. Because, like, with the 7-star power creep, the only reason you roll on the standard suits anymore is purely because you really like the machine. Outside of that, there's really not much of a point, right? And it's just kind of like a weird state to be in, but... Hold on, go back. What was that? Yeah. Eh. Like, it's definitely in a stray suit, but I don't know, man. It didn't really do anything for me. It's kind of existed, you know? I'll take a look, because I have no idea what you're talking about. The head has 5 attribute CDR? S attribute. Ah. Are there any interesting traits in here? Why is that reactive? That's just asking for trouble. A power D pierce bindable. Yeah, that was one that was really long and didn't really seem that great. The melee boost is nice at least. Legs. Yeah, that was the one that looked really not good. That was the close melee combo non-bindable. And then the beam cannon. Oh, C power? Don't even bother. Yeah, I know, I'm glad it didn't cover that suit. That looks like a travesty. Oh my lord. The head is interesting. The rest of it, eh. It's kind of like a collector thing if you're a big fan of like the Astray series. And I would honestly just say, because it has so few parts, just use your tickets when it becomes available in the exchange. Anyways, so as I was saying before, let's talk other stuff that happened. So, as I was saying, we had the Full Metal Alchemist mobile game. I gave that a try. If you haven't seen it or tried it, I recommend you do. As far as mobile games go, it feels relatively high quality. The in-game art is really nice. The combat is a nice isometric turn-based kind of strategy combat. Really cool. I like the way that you can just the options and the variety you have when you're tackling content, I think is really good. Obviously, you know, it's Full Metal Alchemist. I'm so glad to see that series have something come back to it, especially, you know, in this form. If you've watched any of the trailers, the 3D models are just stunning, really high quality. The 2D art is good, definitely. I don't know though, some of them kind of... I'm not the biggest fan of some of the 2D art, but all the 3D sprites, zero issues with it. I think all the 3D sprites are really, really good. The special attacks are really funny for some of the characters. Definitely hearkening to things that are important about them, and I appreciate that. Hey, Matt. My one... Oh, not one. I have a couple of small issues with the game. First of all, the gacha rates are a little lower than what I would expect from a game in today's kind of mobile game market. It does have pity though, which is nice. And I also wasn't a fan of the loading. Now, when you're going from like turning on the game to the main menu, there is a ton of like loading. There is a ton. My phone that can load most of these mobile games in like sub 10 seconds, I'm waiting for Full Metal Alchemist for like 20, 25, 30. But after that, there's almost no loading whatsoever. I pick a map, things loaded within 5 seconds or less, and I'm playing. I'm quite impressed by that. I can deal with the long boot time if it means that my actual gameplay experience once it's on is more or less uninterrupted. So that's cool stuff. 3% is standard. So how to best put this? When you've played, I'm not going to say the good mobile games because that is completely subjective, but when you've played the extremely popular for merit of their gacha system mobile games. I'm not going to say just popular because Genshin Impact is fucking terrible and I don't care what anyone says. That gacha system needs to burn. But when you play a game that is popular for its gacha system, you'll see why relatively quickly. The rates, although, you know, 3% is the standard, when you see games that are sitting at 5% or 6% or sometimes even higher than that, the focus no longer is about obtaining multiple duplicates of the SSR character. You can get one copy and have a good amount of fun with this. You can get pretty much everything you want, all the mileage out of this. The dupes are to speed up that process or unnecessary. I'm not saying all mobile games should go this route because it's not feasible, and a lot of games do rely on players rolling duplicates because that is the simple, straightforward way of making money. I respect that. But when you've played enough games where they break away from that and do other stuff, yeah, it really makes you look at that 3% standard and go, wow, this is actually garbage. Like, let's see here. Out of all the games I have on my phone, let's see here. I can't remember the rate for that game. Not that it matters, because the pity is terribly low. Examples would be like Azure Lane. Examples would like a call, effectively. You have games like I always go back to Grand Blue Fantasy because honestly, out of all the gachas that I've played, it has my favorite rate up system in it. You have the standard 3%, and then whenever we have like a very special banner, which is typically done at the halfway point of the month and at the end of the month, we get the double rate up where it goes to 6%. And the focus is on the new units or content that is exclusive to those gacha periods. And for a game that is as old as Grand Blue is, and people still haven't looked at it and gone, we should maybe think about copying this system, I'm really confused by that. I look at call games where the point isn't so much as, oh yeah, you need to roll, you know, fucking 12 dupes of this character to be able to max them out, fake grand order. But instead it's, oh, you rolled a copy of the character, cool. Here's like 5 different ways you can get them to max rarity and not have to roll the gacha anymore. Oh, you want to earn currency to roll the gacha? Here's like 16 different things you can do to earn the gacha currency. Oh, you barely play the game? That's fine. You know, we'll space out the banners 2-3 months apart for the ones that actually require a pity roll. And even if you just log in and do your dailies, which takes 5 minutes, you'll have enough currency, right? And I understand that the standard is 3%, but like, that's such like a weak argument these days when you have old ass games absolutely just, you know, being awesome when it comes to their gacha systems, right? And I don't know, I'm just kind of tired of seeing, you know, just really bad gacha systems. I think it's just kind of like it's made me kind of jaded to the whole thing where I just kind of don't care anymore, right? Like even this game, right? We have a 5% rate for 5 stars, which considering the standard is 3%, that's really, really good. Like, amazing. 66% value, or extra value. The problem is, because there's no pity, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. And I think that's a very important point to kind of keep in mind, is there's a lot of things kind of wrapping around what makes a rate good, what makes a gacha good, not just, oh, the rate's this, that means it's good. You know? If Grand Blue Fantasy didn't have generous developers, it would be much worse because it takes a long time to save up the content you need to do a spark, right? Not that you have to spark to get your characters on the 6% banners. A lot of the time they give you free rolls and you can luck shit them, but they're really generous on top of the generous gacha, right? You look at other games that have what some argue a good gacha system, like Genshin Impact of all things, right? But look at how much you have to play and how much you have to interact with the game and how many hours you have to spend on it to be able to afford the gacha rolls when you need them, right? Just because the rates may be standard doesn't mean the gacha is good. Right? It all kind of falls back to that video I made a couple of years ago. GBF is why pity exists. Yeah, Monkeygate. They are the ones that effectively created the reason for sparking to exist. And not only have they embraced it, but they've made it a biannual, if not a triannual, or I guess not biannual, because that'd be every other year. But it's like a twice to 3 times a year event for players to spark, because the company is just so generous. And they don't have to give us all that free stuff. They don't have to give us the 6% rates, but they do. So whenever someone says, oh, well, standard rate is 3%, so this game's perfectly fine. It's like, Full Metal Alchemist, because going back to topic, even though the rates are 3%, which is standard, and the pity is, if I remember right, 200, the amount of actual gacha currency you get once all the beginner rewards are gone, once all of the, effectively the new player bonuses have worn off, is extremely low. So unless the developers are going to be constantly pumping out events to give us gacha currency, or they're going to be very generous with gifting us items, you're going to be sitting on those items a lot like Genshin and just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Right? They obviously, as was mentioned as well by Mana, they have a battle pass system. They try to sell you bundles. And, you know, for someone that's playing a game for free, you know, it's easy enough to ignore those things. But those are meant as supplements to make sure you have enough gacha currency to roll the gacha and do whatever. Now, granted, one may flip this and, you know, well, hey, you really like Punishing Gray Raven. That also has a, you know, monthly pass system to give you more gacha currency. Sure. But that's the optional, where if you pay for that, you can either slack off a ton on your weeklies because you'll be getting a ton of extra currency from the, you know, the pass, or you can use the extra currency you get from the pass to get the weapon for the character as well. I look at it as a like $5 a month subscription to the game to guarantee that I get every character and all of their signature weapons as well. That's the way I look at it. If I didn't pay that subscription fee, I would get all the characters still. I wouldn't get the weapons. Maybe I would, depending on how lucky I was, but I'd get all the characters still. And that's a good gacha there, is one that is designed around making sure that players can obtain everything in some fashion. You may not be able to get triple S plus of every single character playing free to play, but you'll be able to get all the characters. And I think that should be more than enough to deem it as a good gacha. I look at Fate Grand Order, and even though it has a pity, it is so high that most players will never actually be able to reasonably reach it, at least not naturally saving. Their sparking system outside of that, their Origin Saint Graphs thing is, don't even fucking talk about it. I have played that game since launch, and I got my first one, my first Origin Graph with the Anniversary GSSR, to put that in perspective. So it can be difficult sometimes talking about gacha systems in games, because we've become very desensitized to really, really poor practices, I think is the nicest way to phrase it. And a lot of people overlook a lot of the like big issues that come with certain systems and games. Now, don't get me wrong, I am making a lot of assumptions about Full Metal Alchemist. I am making a lot of assumptions about the developers for that game, and a lot of assumptions about how they plan on going forward with it. However, I have also found that being too optimistic has led to much more heartbreak when it comes to these games I really want to enjoy. Whether it be through the company floundering or any other myriad reasons for a game to fail. So when I look at Full Metal Alchemist, that new mobile game, and I get the warm fuzzy seeing Edward Elric in his high quality glory, and I get to enjoy those nostalgic voice lines and the plot, the characters, and it's a really nice thing to experience and play through again. But yeah, the things I don't like about that really just boil down to, I'm not a big fan of the gacha for it. I'm not a fan of the initial loading time for it, but I respect why it's there. I understand that it makes the rest of the experience good, so I can gloss over that. But I'm also not really a huge fan of Like it really just boils down to me just the gachas, the big draw that kind of pushes me out from it. When it releases in English, I'll most likely, or sorry, I shouldn't say when. If it releases in English, I'll most likely give it another good old college try, a little more in depth this time, as a lot of the systems are a little alien when it comes to mobile games, and every game tackles it differently, so it can be difficult to know exactly what I'm supposed to do. So I'll wait for the English version. Hopefully that comes out. I'd love to play through the game again and experience the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood story, because even though I have the anime, the entirety of it, God, I love that. I'd like to experience it through a game. And I think that mobile game is definitely the way to do it, at least based on what I saw so far. Granted, some of it is a little abridged, but the core of the story is there, and I think that's a big deal. It'll bring in a new generation into Full Metal Alchemist. People that know the IP tell their friends, hey, this game, the IP is amazing, the story is top-notch, character designs just so good, try it. The graphics will hook them, and they're stuck, and the story will keep them in. And I just really hope that experience comes to North America in English. I really do want to enjoy that game. Beyond Full Metal Alchemist, what else was I playing this last couple of weeks? Well, you guys know I played a lot of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I had that on behind me actually when I was doing my stream a couple of weeks ago. So much fun. I am loving it. I'm loving just everything. The atmosphere of the game is great. I love the combat system changes that they made. The new character cast is really fun. I've beaten it. I'm not going to spoil anything for it, but it's nice. It's nice. Yeah. And beyond that, were there any other... there was another mobile game that I tried. What was it? Give me a sec. I'm going to check. I'm going to just check my install history here real quick. Let's see here. Because I know there was another one. At least one more that I tried. Let's see. Played. So let's see here. Yeah, okay. So it was the Octopath game. I don't know if I talked about that here on stream or not. So, Octopath Traveler. The IP is nice. I played a good chunk of the game, but it never really hooked me. Which was weird. It seems to kind of be everything I liked. It had the really high quality 2D pixel art. It was a JRPG. It had the class stuff I enjoyed so much, but it never really clicked. The mobile game came out, and I was really hoping that I would enjoy it, because I really did want to take that bite of Octopath and just kind of enjoy it. So I found the tutorial to be kind of a drag. Okay, one thing I gotta say, and I know I've said this before, but holy crap, can we please make it standard to add a button when you start a tutorial that says, do you wish to play the tutorial? Please, let me skip it. And when I say the tutorial, I mean the tutorial. Not just the combat tutorial, not just the inventory tutorial, the entire goddamn tutorial. Please, I don't want to sit there for 10 to 15 to 20 minutes every time I go to re-roll, or just make the re-rolling easier and more dynamic so I don't have to... I have a lot of gripes. Did you read the interview in Famitsu? Serving coins we currently have are the base, some limited characters append. So, I don't see much of a point in that. For your absolutely favorite characters in Fate Grand Order, I completely understand wanting to append and fully max them out. There's a couple characters I'd like to do that for myself, but it is not necessary in the current meta of FGO. You don't need to have level 120. You don't need to have the 20% NP boost at start, although it's convenient if you want to, use non-capped K-scopes or some certain setup you have that needs it. But honestly, like, it's a neat system. I'm glad they've given us more ways to lavish our favorites, but it's just so unnecessary, dude. Did you play Digimon Survive? So, let's talk Digimon. So, oh yeah, also the SD Battle Alliance game. Yeah, I'll start with that and then I'll go on the Digimon. So, Battle Alliance. I think I mentioned it before, but I really wanted to play it and stream it, but they didn't have it on PC. They had the demo on every other platform except PC. And PC is the only one that is convenient for me to stream on. Not that I can't stream on anything else, it's just the most convenient. Tilts me. Anyways, for Digimon. This is a weird one, you know? I enjoy the Digimon franchise. I still remember watching the original cast when I was younger and watching that really shitty English opening and watching the first movie for it. And there's so much like childhood nostalgia that comes to mind when I remember the scenes from that first Digimon movie. And I was totally like, I'm going to get Digimon Survive. I'm going to love it. And it's going to be great. And I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm not saying I'm not going to like it. I'm just saying I've been caught up with Xenoblade to the point where I haven't really had much time to go, I'm going to play another JRPG. Because after I completed my first run through, I decided to do an NG Plus run. Because on my first run through Xenoblade 3, I spent most of my time aiming to kind of 100% everything. So that was mapping everything out, doing all of the side quests, collecting all the materials, doing all of the hand-in quests, getting all of the soul hacks, everything, right? And I realized as I approached the end of the game, I had focused so hard on 100%ing it that I really didn't stop to smell the roses along the way. I only saw a couple of the vistas early on. I only saw, some of the out of the way places in, I guess it's like when you walk around with your nose in your phone and you're trying to find something, like you have a map and you're trying to figure out where the fuck that thing is. You just kind of lose sight of everything around you. So I want to do a New Game Plus run on it, and I want to just experience the world. Now that I've done the 100%, I can just run around the world and do whatever. I don't need to do that side quest. I don't need to run out of my way here to find this monster. I can just run around and look at everything and take my time. And that's kind of my second run for that. And as soon as I have my free time, I do plan on picking up Digimon Survive and playing it. Because it is a JRPG, and it does tickle all the right notes for me. And it is an IP that has a lot of nostalgia for me as well. And it is really just kind of like a time thing for me. I just need to find the time. And I want to do Xenoblade right, because I have been playing Xenoblade since the Wii version originally came out. And I didn't play Xenogears. I need to get around to that at some point. But I played Xenoblade, Xenoblade 2, Xenoblade X, and now Xenoblade 3. And I want to see it done right, and that's what I'm going to do. So that's why I haven't played Digimon Survive yet, is I want to make sure I do it right and give it the attention it deserves. So if I could go back in time, I would unplay Tokyo Mirage Sessions to give myself the time, because as entertaining a game as that was, it was definitely not the SMT XFE game they were promising. It was a game, it just wasn't the game they promised. I wanted to play Digimon Survive, but I'm on the fence. I've heard it's very visual novel with mediocre battles. So, I love my visual novels. Granted, I really haven't participated in actually consuming the medium for years now. But it's something that I do enjoy. It's kind of a casual, laid-back experience, and it's more story-driven. And that's one of the big things I've always loved about JRPGs, is the fact that they are story-driven. So, to me, that's not really much of a demerit. If anything, it just means you get to enjoy some combat, and then enjoy a bunch of story. And you get to watch it on... It's like a glorified anime, effectively, where there's a little bit of reader interaction, or like viewer interaction, so to speak, here. So... games should not be so handhold. The Ubisoft formulas for worlds tend to be copy-paste without thought. Yeah. Yeah. So, as much as Xenoblade 3 is an open world, it's still very much a hallway. So even though you have the world is your oyster moments, where you enter a new map and it's literally, here's this massive field, explore, see what it holds, you're always going to be bottlenecked. You're not going to be able to go to certain areas because the monsters are too high level. You're not going to be able to go through certain pathways because the characters will say, not this way. And I understand why they do that. They have to keep the player on track. The last thing you want to do is have players lose sight of the plot and end up somewhere they definitely shouldn't be. However, I think it's also in a developer's best interest to make sure that when you create an open world, it's an open world, right? Look at Skyrim, look at Breath of the Wild, right? Those games do it very, very well, where it's, hey, here's a world. Bye. And they just leave you at your devices. Right? Breath of the Wild's a little more controlled at the beginning, as it teaches you the basic mechanics of how to not die like a little bitch within the first 10 seconds, but after that, it's like, yeah, there's a main storyline, or you can run over that mountain over there, or you can go that away and just check what's there. Who cares? Do whatever. You know, you get to play with your powers, figure it out. Oh, you got magnetism? Hey, have fun beating goblins over the head with giant logs. Why not? And a lot of games will try to say they're open world, but it's not. It's just not. You have a large open space, but it's not an open world. You've still restricted the player's exploration potential behind arbitrary story points. And that is fine. That is completely acceptable. I understand narrative driven, but relay that. Don't try to say it's open world when it ain't. I don't know if you guys saw the trailers for Harvestella. That's got me. That's got me in a good way. I was rather let down with Rune Factory 5. I don't know how many of you guys picked that up, tried it, or read the reviews about it. It was a Rune Factory game, but it had been very stripped down. A lot of the systems and mechanics from previous entries weren't there anymore. The optimization, at least on the Switch, was miserable. And overall, it was kind of it didn't feel like a experience worth the money I paid for it. It felt more like an indie studio kind of thing. And I'm really hoping that Harvestella does better. But based on what I've seen so far, based on the footage they've shown, based on the developers talking about it, frankly, I'm very, very excited to see what happens with it. And that's going to be my go-to farming sim game, I think. I might try one of the older Harvest Moon games in the meantime, but Harvestella is definitely my next big want there. The Zenless Zone Zeta, or the Zenless Zone Zero, whatever, ZZZ. The beta invites got sent out for that. Unfortunately, I didn't make the cut, but I've seen a lot of gameplay footage coming out for that, and it looks quite interesting. I'm excited to really try that. I'm still waiting for Star Rail to release, whenever the hell they decide to do that. Yeah, but you know, it's nice seeing kind of these games I've been waiting for slowly get knocked off the list and become available. Hey man, all for it. Yeah, Harvestella is the Square Enix one. Yeah, it looks so nice, especially the recent interview thing that, or like the blog post they did on it where they showed off the seasons. Oh man, I am hyped. The only thing now, I guess this is kind of like an arbitrary kind of thing, but so far they've never really expanded upon any kind of systems beyond just basic friendship with people. So it's kind of a staple in those games to have some kind of like subplot in terms of romance options or whatever. And they haven't talked about that at all, which interesting take if they decide to not go with that and you can only be friends with people. I can see that definitely driving down sales from a certain group of yeah. Anyways, overall, it looks really nice, looks really clean. Because it's made by Square Enix, or published at least by Square Enix, I'm expecting good quality for it. I'll be looking forward to that. Yeah. Let's see. Let's catch up to chat here because I've just kind of been blabbing. The new SD. I'm hoping for an eventual PC demo for pre-order. So the demo is available on. If you're talking about the Battle Alliance game, the SD Battle Alliance, that demo is available on every platform except for PC. When it releases, it'll be on PC as well, but until then, you can only have a demo on anything other than PC. Welcome to PC life. I can't wait for Eternal and for the Eternal Arms Gacha and Gacha. So, I have queried about what that actually entails. I've asked very specifically. Let me bring up the message I wrote out so you can judge that for yourself. Let's see here. Where's the? There it is. Scroll up to. Here we go. So, a question about Eternal Arms. Do they add a new skill to the unit, or does it just change the animation of a pre-existing skill? Are there any changes to the skill in the case of the latter scenario? So, is an Eternal Arm a brand new skill, or is it just a animation swap? And in the case of it being an animation swap, does anything else differ? Like, is it also new damage values or whatever? On top of that, will we ever get the ability to craft Eternal Arms, potentially after a lot of painful grinding? And does every unit have an Eternal Arm? Are there multiple Eternal Arms from suits? Will we need to gacha for 2 to 3 different Eternal Arms? So I really do, much like you, want to know more about the Eternal Arm system, and I really want to know what it brings. And I'm hoping that it is a cosmetic thing. I'm hoping that Eternal Arms just changes the animation for a skill to something that is more iconic. And I really hope that's the case. I hope that it's not, oh yeah, Eternal Arms adds a brand new skill that's ultra iconic to the suit, and if you don't have it, it's going to only feel like half a suit. But if they go that route, if they say, but you can craft Eternal Arms after the gacha period is ended, you just need this laundry list of materials. And it's like, that's acceptable. As a parallel for, I'd be okay with. If you've ever played, I'm going to use as an example again, Grand Blue Fantasy, the Eternal Uncap grind. I think that is a very healthy grind for what you get. You, as a new player, getting your first Eternal is a rough fight. Lots of resources, lots of time spent, and you finally get that Eternal. You get them up to level 80, but they can go higher than that. And now you have to invest a ton of extra resources, a ton of extra time to get the items needed to get them to 100. But they can go higher than that. And that's where the real pain comes in. But the end result is a character that's very powerful, obtained completely for free by just grinding. And some of the better ones completely outclass anything you can get in the gacha. And I think that's something that I feel would be okay for this kind of scenario. If we have the ability to do certain tasks in game to unlock the Eternal Arm for a suit, like let's say this, you roll the suit in the gacha, you get the suit, it doesn't come with an Eternal Arm, but the skill that is locked behind the Eternal Arm has a list of, 15 challenges. Complete this many maps, defeat this many units using this suit, complete at least X amount of maps with this rating using this suit. Those kind of challenges down the list. And when you you get all those checked off, you'll get the Eternal Arm for the suit. So you either gacha it and you skip all the grind, or you just get the suit, you didn't get the Eternal Arm, and you just grind for a bit. right? I think that's a okay trade-off. Granted, I'm not a huge fan that, you know, it's purely RNG, whether or not I have to grind a bunch or not, but it's better than being permanently locked out from not being able to get an Eternal Arm. You know, roll with the punches kind of thing. I'm really interested in seeing how they decide to finally implement the Eternal Arms, and I am waiting for any kind of response about them, frankly. But I think that once we get our hands on that beta, we'll have a lot more information for it. So, yeah, we'll see, Mana. As the game gets closer to release, I think we'll see. We'll see more. And hopefully it's good news. All right, it is 1:45 in the morning. I do need to sleep. I have 6 hours between now and the beginning of the FGO stream. So for everyone that stayed past the end of the GBM content, thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks for chatting it up. Always nice to see those very familiar names in chat. For anyone that is watching this VOD later, don't worry about it. You'll catch a stream eventually. Anyways, yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Peace out. And I will see you in the next one. Maybe I'll be doing an emergency stream tomorrow morning for FGO. Who knows? Peace out.